Welcome to Doc Talk, featuring Monument Health physicians addressing medical topics. This week, Interventional Cardiologist Joseph Tuma, MD, hosts a special Valve Disease Awareness Day roundtable, live in front of an audience at the Monument in Rapid City. Listen in as patients share their experiences of undergoing Transcatheter Aortic Valve Replacement, TAVR, procedures performed at the Heart and Vascular Institute.
Well, welcome everybody to our Heart Valve Awareness Day. I'd like to thank everybody for coming. This is always a very gratifying day for me, where I get to, see everybody that I've kind of gone down this road with, from meeting in the clinic to, and talking about the procedure and getting to know people and their families through the procedure. And then you get to the point today where you've kind of made it through, and you're kind of back to your normal self. And so it's always really fun for me to see people on the other end of the procedure. So what we thought we would do today is we have a couple of patients that have had the TAVR procedure done. Darcy Altman's to my right side, and then Kay Ryder to my left side. Both had sort of different experiences with the procedure. So I thought would be interesting would be to kind of get their perspective on, the process and things that went well. And I'd love for people in the audience to chime in and ask questions, and I'm happy to answer any questions people have. So we're coming up on TAVR number 1,000. I don't know where we're at. I'm sure JC could give you an exact number, or Becky. We're kind of getting to the number 1,000 mark. It's been a very successful program, and a lot of that has to do with the team around me. It's JC and Becky and Megan and Darlene and all the people that really helped me do this. I kind of just show up and put the valve in. They do all the hard work. So maybe I'll start with you, Darcy. So the TAVR procedure, what sticks out to you the most? What do you remember most about the procedure, or the process even?
Well, I remember not knowing that I didn't feel as bad as I did until after it was over. And I remember that I said to, I'm not sure who was in, that I could already felt better right after the surgery. Right. And then, of course, the next day when I got to go home, I thought, well, I'll take the dog for a walk. That's a little too soon.
Right.
But I remember there were so many people that were involved in getting me ready to go, and it all went very smoothly, and I can't say enough about how good the care was. So really appreciated all those people.
Awesome. Great. All right. And then Kay has had a different experience. So the procedure in her went very well. We had no issues. She had the valve put in. And then, was it 2 years later?
Not that long. It was
a year later?
Year later.
Mm-hmm. A year later, she started to have some symptoms and started to feel kind of similar to the way she did before she had the valve done. And interestingly, what had happened, and there really are very few reports of this happening, is the valve had migrated. And what's interesting is immediately the day post-procedure, and I don't know how much of this you remember, but you were having some chest pain. Oh. So we did a CAT scan called a CT angiogram, and got a very good look at the valve. The valve was functioning fine. The depth was perfect. And interestingly, over the course of a year, somehow the valve migrated and moved into the heart pumping chamber to the point where she was starting to leak around the valve. And so there was a very complicated situation. We had lots of talks about what the options to treat it were. And eventually, what I ended up doing is giving my good friend and one of the world's experts in valve treatment, Dr. Paul Saraja, at Abbott Northwestern, and we sent Kay and her family to see him, and he fixed the valve. So can you give them your experience a little bit?
Well, I'll start with the first one. When I actually started with my primary care, and was having my usual physical, and when he was just about done, I said to the doctor, I said, "Oh, by the way," I said, "sometimes I feel like I get a pain right in the middle of my chest, like I've been shot with an arrow." And he said, "Oh, I think we're going to have to do an echo." And I had no idea what an echo was. I had no idea of heart issues whatsoever, but I did notice, like this lady over here, that I couldn't walk like I used to. I would be tired right off the bat. And so when I found out I had to have the valve, well, that was fine, and everything. Oh, I cannot tell you how wonderful the staff was. This is with Dr. Tuma's team here at the Heart and Valve. And everything was spot on. I was told what was going to happen. I kept thinking, where do they get these people? They're so good. And so I had the valve, and I'm like this lady over here. I thought, I'm going to go out and take. I felt good right away. And I thought, well, I'm going to take my usual walk. Well, that is a little bit of a push. It took a while, but not long. And so then I continued on with my life. And then I went back. And that's when the second episode happened. And I saw Dr. Saraja in Abbott Northwestern. Now, he's a very fine doctor, and he did a good job, etc. But the care I got here was absolutely superlative. I cannot begin to tell you how well taken care of I was. And I thank you and the team.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yes, you're welcome. So one of the other questions a lot of people ask is, just about the process. So, from the time your primary care doctor tells you you need to go see the cardiologist and that you need to have your valve fixed, we've spent a lot of time trying to make that process fairly efficient. So would you mind speaking about that a little bit, kind of what you thought about that process, if there's things we could do better, or if you felt like you understood what we were going to do and kind of your expectations were met as far as that goes?
I think we started it in June. Can't even really remember with the echo. And then things progressed along, and by the middle of October, the surgery was done. And there were a lot of tests in between, which made me feel comfortable because you knew what was going on, not just with the valve, but all through the heart. Right. And so that made me feel very comfortable. It seemed like a long time because when you find out, you go, well, I just want to get this over with. Right. But I understand why you had to take that time to make each step. And I think that's why the surgery went so well. So I guess I can't really complain about that.
Great. And I guess the big question is, how are you guys doing now? How do you feel, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years after your valve procedure?
Yeah, it's been a little over a year. I'd never gone to a gym before, but now I go 4 days a week.
Yeah, awesome.
So yeah,
very good.
and I really like it. And cardiac rehab was where I got started with that. Those people are very good people as well. Yeah. So I can do things, and my daughter can attest. I went to Washington with her before the heart valve replacement, and she had to kind of slow down for me and stuff. But now I can go where she goes.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm older.
Oh, I don't think so.
But no, it's gone really well. I'd like to be stronger, and I haven't really worked on that. I got us through a move, sold our house, got us moved in, and so I felt really strong throughout that whole thing. It's just different now, and on a positive note, and I'm glad that I can still be alive and enjoy life and have the wonderful care. And you're right, they walk you through every single step of the way, and on top of that, in between, I got RSV. So for a while, I was practically a permanent resident at the hospital. And so I didn't expect that. But I've been, like Doctor said, I went to Abbott Northwestern, and they were okay, but this place is the best.
That's great. We also have some surgical valve patients here in the room. Would you guys mind raising your hands, the people who had surgical valve replacements? Yeah, that's true. So we have, Dr. Mungara, Dr. Cambiaghi, our cardiothoracic and vascular surgeons. They're both fantastic surgeons. They're really an integral part of we call our heart valve team, or our structural heart team. The way we do it is every single patient gets seen by, our Becky and Megan, our structural heart APPs, the cardiothoracic surgery advanced practice providers, myself as the cardiologist, and then one of the surgeons. And what we try to do, and at least our concept is, we try to take all this information, the CAT scans, the echo, the angiograms, the carotid ultrasounds, look at all of that and try to decide what's the best thing for the patient. Sometimes the best thing is a surgical aortic valve replacement. And, our goal is to try to find the best thing for the patient. And I do want to give our cardiothoracic surgery team a lot of credit, because they've been a huge part of the success of our valve program in general, and have really some fantastic outcomes. So hats off to those guys. I don't think Dr. Mungara could make it, and Dr. Cambiaghi, I think, is still in Iceland. So that's that. So how about some questions from the audience?
There's a lady right here.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
I know that we've been talking about us and everything that's happened to us and how we did it and how we should be, how did we get aware of it and things. But I wanted to go to a little bit different area, that we have our children. And when I had my open heart surgery in June, my daughter, who's 54 years old, our daughter, and my sister came from back east for it. And I want to say a couple of things about that. Dr. Mungara's team was excellent. And what was very nice is when they had to discuss things about me and my problems and what was going on, they invited my husband, my sister, and my daughter to their meeting of everything that they were talking about, discussing about me. And my sister is a retired OR nurse. She was totally flabbergasted. She never experienced anything like that, coming together. What a difference that makes in how they treat the people. The other thing I wanted to mention is my daughter saw a lot, everything that started from the beginning. My journey started 2 years ago when I short-circuited. I actually short-circuited in my heart. And then everything happened a little bit at a time for 2 years or a year and a half with different things, different emergency room visits. And it all ended up, which I'm really thankful for. I didn't find out one thing and get it an operation, and then all those other things happened later. We waited till everything was wrong with me, and then we did one big open heart surgery. And so I had an enlarged aorta, and I had 2 heart valves that had to be replaced. And we only thought it was one. It wouldn't have been open heart if it was just one. But Dr. Ponaparetti, when he did a TEE on me, he found it. Stuck that darn thing down my throat with that camera, but he found another valve, and that's when he contacted Dr. Mungara. And within a week, I had an appointment within a week, but but it took me a week to do all the tests, the pre-tests for the valves and everything else, and me, my age, am I going to be able to handle it? So I was 81 when I got my, actually had my surgery in June, but all of the tests, the breathing and everything, and meeting me in person, he thought I could do it. Dr. Ponaparetti thought I could do it. So I had to do it. You know, they tell you. They believe in you, so okay. So that worked. But concerning my daughter, so she went back home. She got a cardiologist. So she has a cardiologist, and I gave them all the information. I got my emergency cards. It has my valve things on it. I gave her copies of that, all the information of what was done and how things happen, so that they'd have a baseline to start with my problem, and then start her own baseline so that they could keep checking on her. And that's an important thing for your, for your family. So I just wanted to say that, I just wanted to share that. Are there any questions?
That was really interesting. That was interesting. Very nice.
Thank you. All right. All right, Jim?
I just want to say that, can you all hear me? No. Okay. Usually I'm loud enough everyone can hear me. Just very quickly, I think I was the exception to things that happened. My TAVR went sideways in the procedure. The heart stopped, and all I can say is these guys are my heroes. They had only a couple minutes to figure it out and save my life, and they did that. Except I woke up the next morning in ICU instead of getting out of the hospital, but that's neither here nor there. Today I walk dogs out at the Humane Society 4 and 5 days a week for a couple hours a day, getting 8,000 to 10,000 steps. And any of you who need exercise, please come out and volunteer like I do. You'll love it. There's nothing like walking a 100-pound pit bull to make your day enjoyable. Thank you.
Oh, that was very good.
All right. Any other questions, comments?
Oh, I have one. We talked about we had to go through cardio rehab after the procedure, and I went through it 2 times, and it was very inspiring because I had They do have a wonderful facility here for you to do the rehab. I had a lady on one side of me that was on the treadmill, and she was such an inspiration because she was just going 100 miles an hour. She said, I have to get through this cardio rehab because I'm going to go hiking in Peru. And I'm like, walking along. This guy over here he told me all of his ailments, and he was going 100 miles an hour. And so I thought, well, I guess I better get going here. And so it inspired me. But also, this gentleman mentioned about your symptoms. And one symptom that I can look back and thought, it's just because I'm getting older. That is a biggie, because I couldn't walk very far, and I thought, well, I'm going to cut this in half because next time I walk, I'm really going to push it. Well, not a good idea, and then I couldn't push the cart out of the parking lot back into the store. But I just thought I was getting older, and that's you can fool yourself on that. Yeah.
When you said that you had didn't have any symptoms, well, I had a murmur for a long time, and didn't seem to be doing anything wrong. But then it was. Mm-hmm. And he said that I had a congenital defect, which he also said many people have. And instead of having 3 flaps, I had only 2. Yep, there you go.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the symptoms can be very, it builds up over such a long amount of time. You sort of adapt and accommodate, and you start to kind of ratchet it down a little bit. And so, again, a lot of time we hear that at almost every valve clinic where people will say, I just thought I was getting older. This is just, grandfather time catching up with me, that type of thing. But the symptoms are, they tend to be progressive. They tend to be, you get to a point where you start to wonder, what's going on. So, I just encourage people to talk to your doctors and let them know that you're having symptoms. The aortic narrowing, the aortic stenosis that we treat with the TAVR procedure, the murmur with that valve disease is very audible. It's very, very easy to hear. Anybody can hear it. So as long as they listen to your chest, they're going to hear it, which would prompt an echo, and that's how the whole ball starts rolling. So
They even called med students in to listen to mine.
Yeah.
And I said, and the med students listening, and I go, I have a murmur, and the doctor's going, shh.
Let them guess.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming. There's food over there. Help yourselves. I'll be roaming around, happy to talk to anybody and answer any more questions. So, all right. Thanks, everybody.